So if you're on the path to speaking Spanish and gaining fluency in said language, you got to understand the importance of memorization and the role that it plays to achieving that fluency. And the obvious example here is vocabulary. Just the vocabulary demands alone, 10,000 words is commonly stated as a place to gain some level of functional fluency. Oh my gosh, how do you do that? I can tell you the answer is not memorization, but retention. And there's a big difference between the two. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between the two. And more importantly, I'm going to step you through a very specific technology that's commonly used to address this issue. We'll get into that right now. My name is Scott Bryant. So I'm an old guy, man. I'm 62 years old and I gained fluency in the last couple of years. In large part, I use technology to help me do it, straight up. I mean, and I'm not talking about language learning apps here. I'm not talking about learning the language. I'm talking about speaking, gaining fluency, opening my mouth like I am ahora mismo, just like I am right now, and having Spanish come out instead of English. Yo puedo hacerlo exactamente como puedo hacer en inglés, sino en español. I can do this because I have retained the vocabulary in Spanish, and it's a part of me, much like my own native English language, right? How did I do that? It was via a technology called spaced repetition learning. And honestly, straight up, without a shadow of a doubt, is a game changer. I am here to say there is no possible way I would have achieved the results that I did in the period of time I did at my age without the use of this technology. And I'm going to explain to you what that is, and hopefully in doing so, you'll get a feel for why it is so incredibly powerful. So let me take a small step back and put this in context and explain what this concept is. It's a technology. It's an algorithm. It's not really artificial intelligence, although a lot of people might put it in that category. It's all about retention. Memory, in part, is driven by how we're designed as humans. We have a tendency to use things, and when we stop using them, we lose them, be it muscle, be it our brain capacity, etc. That's why when you learn someone's name, if you don't see that person, if they're not in your life, if you're not continually saying that person's name and seeing them, you lose it. It goes away. That's by design. It's no fault of your own. It's the way we're designed. You're functioning properly. When you are forced to recall that name and you do it on an ongoing basis, you retain it. It becomes part of you. It's important. Your body knows that you must keep that in mind. So that's the difference between retention and memorization. Think of memorization as short term. It's okay, you learn something, but if you don't see that again, it goes away. Retention is what you really want and you need for learning a language. If you learn a set of vocabulary, you go through, let's call it, you have a list of 30 words you're studying. If in 2 months, 3 months, 2 years, you've forgotten what those 30 words are, it's as if you never learned them. You've wasted your time. Memorization doesn't help at all. You need to retain that. And how do you do it? That's what this tool called spaced repetition learning is designed to do, specifically to help you define what it is you want to retain and then give you the tools to do so. So I'm going to step you through now an example of how this is used. I'm going to do it in the context of a methodology that I have created to learn to speak Spanish. Part of this is all based on translating sentences from English to Spanish. You hear something in your native language, which in my case is English, and I think, how might I say the same thing in Spanish? And there's a process of doing this over and over again. I do these translations in the context of this thing called spaced repetition learning, which I'm going to step you through an example of that right now. All right, so to abstract ourselves from the technology just a bit, I'm going to give you an example of a black box, okay? This black box, by the way, is ultimately your phone or your laptop. It's the tool that you use to study, right? But in our case, think of it as a black box. A black box contains what we wish to study. And we set up parameters for how much we want to study. Okay, so let's say, for example, in my case, as I described, I translate sentences. It could be words that I want to just focus on translating, i.e. vocabulary. I think you need a contextual element to learning. So accordingly, I study full sentences, put them in context. It helps you focus on a lot of things. Anyway, let's assume, just for sake of simplicity, we have 100 sentences that we think are important. They're our level. It's what we want to learn. We want to be able to say these sentences. We take those 100 sentences, put them into the black box. Okay, they're there now. And then we tell the black box, we give it a parameter. We say, hey, look, I'm a busy guy. I want to study 20 minutes a day. No more. 20 minutes. That's what I got. Okay. That black box determines what phrases you translate each day. It tells you what to do and for how long you need to do it. So in this case, if it's 20 minutes a day that you have free, it might give you 15 sentences every day to study. And that black box will tell you what to study. You wake up in the morning and it says, here's your 15 sentences to translate today. Go. And you can do them whenever you want, however you want to, whatever. All right? But it does it. And these sentences, it's just going to randomly pull, of the 100 that you put in, it's going to pull in, randomly pull out 15, and you're going to study them. And this is where the black box gains its intelligence, because when you study or translate these sentences, you then grade yourself. You attach to that card that you're studying whether or not you got it wrong, whether or not it was hard, whether it was good, or whether it was easy. So that card that you just studied or translated goes back into the black box with some intelligence that reflects your knowledge and the ability to be successful translating that sentence, right? So hopefully you start to see how this is going to work, right? You do that with every single card you study. You do 15, you put 15 in. Now the black box now knows which ones you struggled with, which ones were easy for you, etc. So the next day of study, it's going to pull out some new cards that you haven't seen before and some that you've already studied. The ones that you've studied, it knows if it was hard or easy, and that will determine how frequently you see those cards, okay? Hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. And if we fast forward to studying 3 months down the road, you're still studying, in this case, it's not a realistic example, but let's say you're still looking at those 100 cards. You're now going to be studying some new cards you've never seen before. You're going to study some mature cards. And those mature cards, you're going to be seeing frequently if, in fact, you got them wrong or you struggled with them. You're repeatedly shown that you've not been able to master them. The ones you get right, you're not going to see them very often. You might see them once every couple of weeks, couple of months. You get the idea. This black box, which is a spaced repetition platform, if you will, that's what the algorithm is known as, it facilitates maintaining your knowledge of this study. It resurfaces this content at the moment you're about to forget it, right? And it doesn't waste your time studying things you already know. So it's super efficient, and it's all about retention. It forces you to never forget those things that you once learned. Oh, you learn them along the way, but without the resurfacing down the road, you will naturally forget it. That is why, after using this technology for the better part of a year, I gained fluency. Think about the compounding effect of studying a handful of cards every single day, translating. It has grammar, it has the structure, pronunciation, vocabulary, all of that stuff combined, right? And it's continually resurfacing and not allowing you to forget what you once learned. That's retention. That is how this stuff stays on the end of your neurons that's available for you to speak and have it come out and flow in the form of Spanish. That is a game changer, my friends. So just to continue a little bit further about the mechanism and how this all really works. So Your role as a student is to provide it with content. And you tell this black box, the spaced repetition learning platform, what you want to study, what's important to you. You can make it super personalized, sentences that you need to learn at your level, that kind of thing. You also never, ever, ever have to think about what you're studying. It's not like you sit down and it's like, hey, it's Tuesday, I need to come up with a lesson, or someone's given me a lesson, I need to go do this. No, every single day you wake up right there on your telephone, which by the way is the black box, and it says, here's your sentences to translate today. And you just do it. And again, you're going to be studying what you need to do at the right time. You're not going to be wasting your time going through saying things you already know. It's, yeah, like I say, it got me to fluency. I'm one of these people, I've gone through lots of different processes. I've thought about this, I've tried this multiple times over the many years. And at the ripe age of 60, I figured it out. And it was really with the help of this platform. This became the centerpiece with my personal methodology, how I approach learning the language. And again, why I'm recording these videos. I want to share this with others. I think it was that profoundly important. There's a lot of elements to it beyond just using this platform. I have other videos that get into a lot of the details around that, but this is the heart. I mean, this is the heart. It's also a very practical platform, if you will, in today's busy world where you're go, go, go. Again, you look at your phone in the morning, you know what you have to do, and you figure out when you want to do it and where you want to do it. It's available 24/7, and you don't have to think about what to study. Anyway, I'll stop. I'll cut myself off. And debo cortarme, because I could talk forever. Anyway, thank you. I hope this has been helpful in some way, form, or fashion, and we'll see you in the next video.